incident a couple months ago. It was actually on December 12th of last year, and I went to the meeting at Tangent. It's a public meeting at 7 o'clock at night. It's every month, and tonight is also again public meeting tonight at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
I was recording at the time. I went in there. I didn't actually go in. I walked up to the front door, rang the doorbell. I had the city manager, Joe Samaniago, come out, tell me pretty much that I had to wear a mask, that they wouldn't let me in, and I ended up calling 911. I had Brent Hockey come out, and he actually ended up trespassing me from public for no crime.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm gonna do tonight is go back to the meeting, hopefully not have any issues with trespassing. I was the one that called I was one of the two people that called 911 last time because I wasn't being let in. As I was trying to tell Mr. Deputy Hockey what the deal was, he kept interrupting me. I have it on video. He probably interrupted me at least 20 times. I was never able to get my full complaint out. And I today just realized and kind of learned looking through some rules for criminal procedure that I'm actually not supposed to come to you guys when there's a crime. But I'm actually supposed to go to the court of Lynn County if it happens in Lynn County. I've got that too, but this is kind of something I just filled out again. This is a violation of ORS 162.415. It's official misconduct in the first degree. If a public official, I have it written down. If a public servant commits the crime, or a public servant commits the crime of official misconduct in the first degree with intent to obtain a benefit or harm to another, benefit being not having to be recorded. People of the press have a right to be in there, and if they're not subject to the press, then it's a benefit. A, the public servant knowingly fails to perform a duty imposed by the public servant by law or when clearly inherent in the nature of the office, which is the public meeting part. Or B, the public servant knowingly performs an act constituting an unauthorized exercise of official duties, which would be being trespassed for no crime. I was never asked to leave.
You don't have to be. Accused of a crime to be trespassed.
Really?
No.
What kind of trespassing is that? First, second, or some other kind?
Well, it's just trespass 2, which is in the second degree, which just basically means that the person that's in charge of that
the owner
facility.
Of the property.
It doesn't have to be owner. It could be person in charge. So, like if you, for instance, if we take a shoplifting complaint from a mini mart, then the person on duty there, whoever is acting in charge, can issue trespass notices.
Is that in writing? Could I get that in writing somewhere? I mean, I'm gonna go. I'm not trying to threaten. I looked up first and second degree. Yeah. The first degree has to do something with being in a car. I was not in a car, so it doesn't apply to me. And I really do think, I'll look it up again before I go. I don't want to be wrong, but I'm trying to let this be known beforehand. If something happens tonight, that you guys don't come out and think something else is going on. I'm trying to go about this legally. I'm trying to look up the statute, follow the code of criminal procedure, tell you guys when I've been violated, when my rights have been violated. You guys, Brent Hockey said, well, I don't enforce that. Okay.
We don't enforce civil rights, if that's what you mean.
Well, the reason why is because there's no action in the law. It is law, it's supreme law, but you guys don't enforce federal law.
Right.
You enforce Oregon law.
Correct.
So if I argue the Oregon Constitution, Section 8 says the freedom of the press, is that?
Yeah, but I don't know what their actual official reason was why they were asking you. I'm assuming because you were asked to wear a mask, they were excluding you from, because you were actually in violation of the governor's order at that point to be entering a building without a mask. Is that not correct?
That's not correct. So there's quite a bit of word game going on there. So the actual, the mask mandate is an executive order. It's not a law.
Right, but they can exclude you from entering their building.
There is actually exceptions on the Oregon public meeting, the 162 dot whatever. It says 6:30, all meetings of a governing body of a public body shall be open to the public, and all persons shall be permitted to attend any meeting except as otherwise provided by ORS 192.610.
Yeah, that's probably was written prior to the governor's executive order. Which would trump, her executive order would then trump that original.
Absolutely not. This is,
well,
this is
I'm not going to argue that with you, sir. I'm not. This is not the foundation or the place to argue the governor's orders. Okay, we enforce the laws of the state and also
the rules of the governor. You said laws of the state and?
Yes, and the rules of the county, Lynn County. So I know you want to get into this debate with me, but I don't really want to go down in that rabbit hole with you.
I'm not trying to debate. I'm letting you know I'm going to public property later.
Fine.
I'm not gonna
Well,
commit any
it's-
crime.
If the city of Tangent calls us and says that you've been excluded from their buildings, we will respond and we will address it accordingly. And if you disagree with how it's handled, then you have due process, and you're allowed to go to court and argue your position, or have your attorney argue your position. That's how due process works. But I'm not gonna tell you that you're allowed to go there. If you were trespassed from the building for whatever reason, then my suggestion would be that you need to take up that complaint with the city and see if they're going to rescind that trespass notice to you. Because I don't know what the details were of it originally, but if you were told that you were trespassed originally, it sounds like you're asking me to give you a pass to go there, and I'm not gonna do that.
Well, I guess I'm trying to clarify on the trespass then.
They have the right to trespass a person from their buildings. And it sounds like,
Buildings or
again,
property?
one and the same, properties or building. Trespass order has to do with the properties. Buildings are on the properties.
Okay. Well, I never trespassed onto the building, I never went into the building, I was on public property. I hate to say that I wanna take this to court or something, but you guys are
Well,
looking at
it
federal
may
felonies.
go there.
It probably
If you
will.
get charged, then you'll
Well,
have an
definitely.
opportunity to go to court.
I mean, I'm looking at a possible
Yeah.
federal lawsuit for violation of my rights, coercion against my rights.
Okay,
And I
and
don't.
you have that right.
I do,
Yeah.
but I also have the right to be in public. I'm here, I'm recording, your sign right here says no cameras. Right here, no cameras. This sign says no weapons, and there's a ORS, this is something you can enforce. This you can't enforce, there's no law. You can't trespass me because I have the right to be here as press. Same thing if they can't trespass me.
I don't think that was, well, I don't know, sir, because I wasn't there.
Okay.
But I am assuming, based on what you told me, without me going and doing my own independent research, I'm assuming that the reason why you were excluded last year is because you were not wearing a mask, and I doubt it had anything to do with you being in press or recording them.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if that's a true fact. I'm assuming that based on kind of my experience level here,
Okay. Well, I
and
appreciate
what
it.
you're telling me.
I appreciate
Okay.
that. I know that
That's
you don't-
what I think happened.
Okay,
Most
so
likely.
from here on out, I am asking for this to be, the violation of this statute right there to be enforced.
No. You're taking this out of context.
You mind if I ask how?
Well, because you're alleging that the city manager committed a crime by trespassing you, and that's not what this statute.
Then it's up to you
States.
guys to ask them, and
Well,
they're supposed to say, well,
Also, let me point out this to you. I understand that I was told by the lieutenant just before I walked out here that you came in and brought this to our attention already.
Did I?
And that's what he told me. And he said that he took a packet from you and he submitted it to the district attorney's office. And I'm assuming that's what this is about, right? Is that true?
I don't believe so. I think that was the November time they didn't let me in.
Okay. Well, he said he submitted that for their review and
And they
they
didn't do
reviewed
anything,
it.
they didn't
Correct.
do anything
They
by
no filed.
December. So when I went back in December, then my rights were violated.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go back tonight. I mean, the whole reason I did this in November, and Lovick, I think is, you're sorry, your
Yeah.
lieutenant?
Mhm.
I did this because I didn't want a problem. I didn't want to cause a scene, and I didn't cause a scene.
Okay. Well,
Same
that's
thing with tonight.
admirable.
I'm letting you know tonight, I'm not doing this to cause a scene.
Okay.
I'm doing this because I'm standing firm on my rights, and if I don't, the city's just gonna make up rules and enforce rules when rules are not law. You see what I'm saying?
I can see what you're saying,
Yeah.
but do you have to be present to voice your opinions? Can you do that in writing or in some other way that doesn't
I think, well,
bring this to a negative light?
I've probably messaged the city planner or the city manager maybe 5 or 6 times since then. When he said I have no reason to come back on the property and everything I can do can be done from the phone or electronically, I actually know that I can inspect public records. Inspect, not get copies of. I can go there in person and inspect. So I asked, with 5 days pre-warning, I'd like to come in and inspect public emails.
Okay.
And he messaged me back and said, you can't do that. So
Have you talked to an attorney about any of this?
I have to pay for an attorney to have rights.
No, I did not say that. I asked you if you consulted an attorney,
I
because
have.
if you bring suit against the city, I assume that you would want to have an attorney.
Well,
would
that is an
want to-
assumption. I've thought about doing it without an attorney. I've looked
That's
in.
right too.
Yeah,
Sure.
I don't have to have an attorney. I have contacted a
That's
couple,
true.
and a lot of them don't wanna take on any case that has to do with the city because they think like it's gonna bring a negative look on them, either by the judge or whatever.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to pin anyone here against each other. I mean, I'm trying to be as open and honest as possible.
Okay.
And I don't wanna argue Constitution because no one takes that right. And if I argue the Oregon Constitution, since it's more local, I've almost found like there's no enforcement part of it. Like, yes, it's law, but it doesn't say, well, this is a Class C misdemeanor, you can put them in jail for 3 months or 6 months or whatever. The official misconduct actually shows that it is punishable by a Class C misdemeanor. It is enforceable.
Right, but you have to
I'm not gonna
take
take
that. Oh, okay.
That's for you guys.
Okay.
That's my complaint.
Okay.
And I don't know if this is the exact right way to go about it. I might still continue to go to the court of Lynn County, and turn it in that way. So I was trying to kind of find answers. I mean, this was kind of my written thing I was gonna try to say when I came in here, mainly just saying that, I'm here
Yeah,
today as a
you're-
member of the press.
Yeah.
I'd like to find out, what happened what process was taken with my criminal complaint against Mayor Truelove that was reported to Lubbock, filed on 8/11/2021. And now you just told me he did turn that in. So I mean, I appreciate it. I respect you guys,
Okay.
helping me out.
And what he told me is that he submitted it to the district attorney's office and they submitted a conclusion of no finding, but.
Well, they never called and asked for evidence or anything. I've got it on video too, so that's kind of why I was coming back to find out.
Yeah, sure. If you'd like, I could go see if I could find that decision.
That'd be great.
Okay, give me a second.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And my recommendation would be to follow up with the Lieutenant
So-
Lubbock, and he can provide you with a copy of it.
So just to
Yeah.
clarify though, he did turn it in to them?
Oh, yeah,
He
yeah.
just
Yes,
hasn't-
yes.
okay.
Oh, it got submitted to them, they reviewed it, and then sent us a decision, which was decision, they call them a decision not to file, or a no file decision, basically is what they are.
And I guess my last question would be to start an internal affairs investigation. What's the process for that?
Oh, for here at the office, there's a complaint process that you need to fill out, but I don't have, you'd have to come during business hours, because the gals at the front desk have the packet that you need to fill out.
It's just
So you
called
can fill
like an
out.
internal affairs packet? Or?
Well, it's a citizen's complaint form, what it would be.
Okay, different than the other,
Yeah, so yeah,
Regular.
way different, a lot of
Okay.
different language in it, yeah.
okay, I guess I'll come back in again then.
All right, Mr. Faulkner.
I guess that's everything.
I hope you the best.
Yeah, maybe I'll see you later tonight.
Okay.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
All right.
You too, man.